All right, I know it seems like a lot, and it seems like there's a lot going on. There really isn't. So, today I'm going to make basically an Italian BLT, if that's what we're gonna call it. Basically just Italian ingredients in the form of a BLT. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pesto for this. So I have my handy dandy NutriBullet. But we're gonna make a pesto. I got some tomatoes that we'll do a marinade for. We're gonna do like an arugula salad sort of deal. Basically, we're gonna take some of the stuff that I make for the tomatoes and use that as a dressing for the arugula, which is kind of nice. Why I like using this type of recipe. Just because you can use it for the tomatoes, but then you can basically also use it as a dressing. It's kind of nice. But I got that, and then we're gonna I got some leftover and some new fresh mozz that we're gonna use for this. And then as our bacon, we're gonna use prosciutto. And then for the sandwich bread, I just got some sandwich rolls, some fancy sandwich rolls. But let's go ahead with our pesto. So you need basil and flat leaf parsley. I use flat leaf because the curled stuff gets stuck in my teeth, and I don't like that. The flat leaf tends to blend a little bit better. It's a lot easier to use, and it just works better with pesto. So I have 30 or 40 basil leaves going in here, which usually ends up being about half a bunch to a bunch. Basically, I want this to be half and half, the best I can. And some stem can go in there. You don't have to pick the leaves off individually. Just don't put the big stems in there. And keep in mind, it may seem like a lot of basil, but when this blends, I guarantee you with this and the other ingredients that we put in it, you're gonna end up with about that much pesto. So just keep that in mind. And then flat leaf parsley, again, one whole bunch. And also, again, make sure you take the stems off. And basically all I do with the parsley is tear off the big stems, and then you're left with this. Just kind of go back through and make sure you got most of the thick, chunky stems. Okay, next I'm gonna add a nice hefty tablespoon of minced garlic. Then we're gonna add almost a quarter cup of pecorino romano. Okay, then I'm gonna add a quarter cup of red wine vinegar, about a teaspoon of black pepper, about a teaspoon of salt, and then a half cup of olive oil. And the reason I'm adding it in now is because I won't be able to add it in as it goes. But if you have a food processor, blend all this together first, then slowly add in your olive oil. And I know, Gabe, what about the pine nuts? I'm not a huge pine nut person in my pesto. Don't really care for it, but you can do with or without it, doesn't matter. Set him off to the side, and again, see, it doesn't make a whole lot. That's probably close to a cup of pesto, and like you saw it, we filled it up to there. So it doesn't make a whole lot. Okay, now it's time for our marinated tomatoes. So, for this, again, I think I've made this before, at least once. You need one small shallot, and if all you can find are like big ones, normally they're like freaking that huge, and sometimes it's two of them somehow morphed together into one, just use half of one. But one about this size should be pretty solid. And once this is all said and done, this will probably be roughly probably 2 tablespoons of shallot. Okay, like I said, about 2 tablespoons. Put that in a bowl. All right, and then we're gonna add a tablespoon of minced garlic, about a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, and then a half teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Okay, then depending on how many tomatoes you have, I have 2 pretty good sized ones that I'm gonna slice. We're gonna do a half cup of olive oil, mainly also because we're gonna use some of it as our dressing. And then a half cup of red wine vinegar. Okay, give that a good whisk. So now I'm gonna make sure that I set aside some of this as my dressing. And I don't need a whole lot. And then the rest we use for our tomatoes. All right, so tomatoes are marinated. Set them off to the side. Now it's time for the fun part. All right, so over here, I'm gonna turn my little griddle plate on. And the first thing is, we're gonna cook our prosciutto. That's gonna be our bacon. Then, once our prosciutto is done, we're gonna use the fat that it comes with, and we're gonna toast our sandwich rolls. And these do not take long. And like bacon, this will continue to cook, and you kind of want it to look a little goofy when it comes out. It'll make the sandwich kind of just look fancy, I don't know. And this is kind of what you're looking for. If you cook it any longer than that, it gets chewy, and then you're not really able to enjoy your sandwich a whole lot. Okay, now that most of our prosciutto is done, let's toast our sandwich bread. And this is what you're looking for. All right, it's a little smoky in here, but that's okay. So the first thing is I want to add my pesto. This is basically like adding mayo to your bread. Just a lot brighter and a lot greener. Okay, next, our lettuce or our arugula. Add just a little bit of our dressing / marinade to that. Okay, add my arugula. Then we're gonna add a couple slices of, then I'm gonna add a couple slices of tomato. Then I'm gonna get a couple slices of fresh mozz. Okay, then we're gonna add our prosciutto. And then I'm gonna get a little fancy with a little bit of balsamic glaze. And then 1, 2, 3 top, like so. And there you have an Italian style BLT. Let's try it out. Let's cut this guy in half. Oh yeah. I'm gonna go with this guy. This half first. Look at him. Oh yeah. This is absolutely spectacular. You get the freshness from the pesto, and you get the freshness from the arugula, and then you get a little bit of the sweetness from the balsamic. And the mozzarella cheese really helps cut the saltiness of the prosciutto, because once you throw it on a griddle, it brings out a little bit more of the salt. But this is, and the tomatoes add a nice vinegary touch to it. This is one of my new favorite sandwiches. And I love making pesto. This would make for a nice, like, summertime sandwich too. This is fire. Well guys, there you have it, an Italian BLT. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did and you're new, make sure you hit that sub button. Throw a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and as always, peace out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.